Hello, so I bought one of these filters which was recommended to me by Hype, and he recommended them to quite a few other people. And these are Polish FP203 filters, which are apparently completely safe EO14 style filters. Obviously made, as this one was made in 93 by the look of it, or maybe 97. These are obviously made once communism collapsed, so they were made in sort of post-communist Poland, and made by MASKPOL, who do like things like the FP5 filters and all of those. Now, the cool thing about these is they're apparently, a version of the EO14 filter which is very good for industrial use, works against loads of chemicals, but doesn't contain asbestos. So obviously what I'm going to do is I've now got this as a prop for whenever I want to use one of the old-style Soviet masks and want to use it with something that's obviously objectionably much safer than using something like this. Interestingly enough, I think this EO14 actually weighs more. I have to do it on the scales to be exact, but I'm pretty sure this weighs more. Anyway, exteriorly it is literally an EO14 filter, but let's open this up. So unfortunately when I got this the top was loose, but hopefully it will still work. I'm just going to test it banana oil today, nothing fancy. So let's take the bottom seal off. There we go. That at least is still on. Now let's get this bit off. There you go. And there you can see the inside of the filter, and that definitely actually looks different than the standard EO14. It's kind of hard to show it on camera, but it doesn't look like the same kind of HEPA filter that was in the sort of GP5 style masks. I don't know if that's going to be visible on the camera, but that does actually look different to my eyes, so I'd be pretty convinced, looking at this, saying this isn't the same stuff in it that's in the standard EO14 filter. So anyway, what we're going to do is use it as it was intended to be used, like an EO14 or a coffee can. So I'm going to pop this in the satchel of the SHMS. So that will go in there. There we go. That's in the satchel in the bit with the hole in the bottom. You can probably see it's the red bit sticking out there. So let's get the SHMS out. And let's get the hose out. And I'm assuming this hose doesn't leak. So let's screw this into the mask. Now obviously I'm assuming this is normalised, like we'll find out in a moment, like most Polish filters are. So you could actually use it on both NATO and GOST masks, but being as it's basically the shell of an EO14 filter, I imagine it would be absolutely fine for that. So let's just get that on there. Right, excellent. Now let's pop this in. Back into the bag. Obviously if I was smart, what I'd have done is put the filter in the bag once I'd got the hose attached to it, but I didn't think about that, did I? So let's get that in there. Right, my hay fever's acting up a bit, so let's breathe some purified air. Absolutely no problems with airflow. I can breathe absolutely fine. Okay, so now for the interesting bit. What I'm going to do is get some banana oil, and I'm going to put this underneath the satchel bag where the filter is, and that way we can see if any smell comes through. So let's just do this now. Nope. Can't smell anything, so the banana oil is definitely working. Tell you what, as I've got all the gear on, let's get something a bit nastier than banana oil just to test it. Okay, so what I have here is some plant food. And this stuff, I'm not sure what it is that's in it, but it's basically really, it says there, nitrogen, phosphorus pentoxide soluble in water, and potassium oxide. But this stuff, if you inhale it, you almost can't breathe. It almost like stops your lungs working. Obviously you recover from it, but it's a weird kind of shock to the system if you get this in your lungs. So, let's see if the mask bag works. Right, the bag got the filter.
Seems to be working absolutely fine. Now I could use this just to check that the face piece is all working. Yep, that seems to be absolutely fine. Now what I'm just going to do in a second is just to prove to you this stuff is quite nasty. I'm going to just show you what happens with the mask off if I sniff it.
Right, here goes. So, let's take a big sniff of this. Don't try this at home, by the way. Yeah. It's really, I think this has faded a bit since I had it before, but this is really hard to describe what this does. It like stops you actually. My nose feels like it's on fire, but yeah. Obviously I should have shaved before wearing the mask, but with at least with a Soviet style mask that doesn't actually cause a problem, but yeah. It seems that these EO14 red filters work absolutely fine, which is good to know, so thank you Hype for recommending these. I'm going to probably keep this one in this satchel now. Unfortunately, the paper is all coming off, so I'll just chuck that loose in the bag in a second. But yeah, FP201 filter from MASKPOL. It comes with a massive instruction booklet telling you all the chemicals it blocks, so it's quite a good filter in that regard. So yeah, the good news is it seems, despite this one being from 97 or whatever, and being partially open when I got it, it's still working. But as I said, I mainly bought this just so I could have a safe coffee can. No, this isn't a coffee can, but you know, what would you call this? A box respirator filter, I guess, that's actually safe to breathe through. This actually looks a lot like the British World War II ones, although they're sort of a bit more of an orange colour and they have like the intake valve on the side. But if you ever wanted to, I guess, mock up a filter that looks similar to a British World War II, like General Service Respirator filter or something like that, and something safe, you could use one of these. So yeah, thank you Hype for recommending this. I'm quite pleased with this. Because it still says EO14 on it. I don't know if they've literally just got EO14 canisters and then reprinted them. I kind of imagine they have. That's why they've done that stamp. That's quite clever. Anyway, so yeah, well done MASKPOL. You've made another filter I like along with the FP5 and those other Polish normalised filters. So yeah, excellent stuff. I'll put obviously that cap back on now. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to store this probably in my Shums's bag. So that will be in there whenever I want it. But yeah, these are quite cool filters actually.